Total Armwrestling Show. And Jeff, how's it going? My co-host, Jeff Frank.
It's going really good.
That hasn't been here for a while.
Yeah, I'm doing well. How you doing?
Billy Berg is already in the live chat saying good morning. And yeah, we're rolling, ladies and gentlemen. I think we might have actually started a broadcast and then restarted a broadcast by the looks of things. But Jeff, how's it going, man? What have you been up to?
Doing really good. How you doing, bud?
I'm hanging in there. We have a lot to talk about today.
Do we ever?
But let's first go to the Alpha Patreon members. For those of you guys that don't know, we have a Patreon site. We sell memberships. There's perks with that. Patreon.com/Mr. Espey. And we shout out the Alpha members every show we have. Ready Go Garb, Ready Go Solutions, Jeff Frank, Bruce Williz, Barbarian Armwrestling, Bryan Koerner, and Jon Umpherville. We appreciate your support. But there's more. We're selling memberships right on the channel that's very similar to Patreon. So I invite you guys to check that out, and I hope you will. Let's get right into her there, buddy. We had TAL2 last weekend.
Yeah, TAL2 down in Boise, Idaho. It was, it was a good time. I took a lot away from it. I learned a lot. There were certainly some, frustrating times leading up to it. There was some frustrating times after it, but I think the whole event, all in all, down south was exceptionally well. The turnout was great. The venue turned out to be really good. Always the support down in the south is huge, and once again, I'll say it again, I just love the people down there.
Yeah, so you had some cancellations of your venue, which we got worked out. We talked a little bit about it with Todd Zilla last week before it was actually announced that the venue was canceled and reset. That came through.
There was a few things, and the venue was one. The trophies were another thing. Trying to get stuff shipped with all this COVID restrictions it's just tough. Half the trophies didn't show up. There was everything was shipped at the same time, but they were showing up at Robbie Topi's house day by day, and then one table didn't show up. A couple boxes of trophies. There was the venue change. There was the restrictions with the trophies almost not getting completed because of the businesses shutting down up here, and having to pay royalties and premiums on all this stuff to get it done. The belts, tough getting those done right now, having to pay premiums, and then having to air express everything down. So there was a few things that were definitely, it was stressful, but I mean, once I was down around everybody, it was really good. We got her done. Great turnout, great venue, and everybody had a great time. So that's what's important.
Yeah, and it's a little look into the behind the scenes of running an event, the scale of TAL2. Now, you want to get into some matches?
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, we can start there. You bet.
Let's go right from the top then. Let's talk Jesse Halliday versus Nick. Is it Postal or Postal?
I'm not even too sure. I think it's Postal. Nick reached out to me wanting to come up to Boise looking for a match. There was a few options, and obviously Jesse going to be down there. I said he wanted to try somebody different, somebody from Canada, and I told him, like, Jesse's a pretty good guy. Like he's a top national player, and but he wanted that challenge. So yeah, they went at her in a left-handed match, and I think Jesse took that fairly easy, 3-0. So
yes, Jesse one-sided, and the trend kind of continued a little bit. Jesse looking good, getting a win for the Canadian team. And then we move on to Martin Langlois versus Roman Gromov.
Yeah, I don't know how much Martin knew about Roman going to this one. I was talking to Martin, saying, it's a good challenge if you want a super match, and, something, he's going to be a bit heavier than you, but it would be a substantial challenge. Roman is a killer, man. Like the guy is a legit number one ranked U.S. arm wrestler in the United States, probably North America, at think he's ranked at 154. He was a bit heavier for this match, but listen, Martin's a killer too, man. I think Martin needs to put on a little bit more muscle. I think Martin is a killer at the 140 nationally. What is it, 143?
I don't know what it is, man. Once it gets below 176, I lose track of the classes. I don't even know which ones they have anymore. Yeah, no disrespect, but it's there's a lot of them.
Yeah, I think it's 143, and but so he was substantially lighter. Whatever. I mean, Martin, we all knew Roman who he was, and he showed why he's the number one ranked arm wrestler. Martin did slow him down in the third match in a deep hook there,
I think I'm going to disagree with you. No disrespect to Martin. I don't think that was a slowdown on Martin's part at all. I think it was a Roman showing some mercy on that one. Unfortunately, but hey, opinions will vary. It was a learning experience for Martin, and the big difference between supermatch arm wrestling and tournament style arm wrestling. Martin got world level experience like crazy, but he jumped in with, there's a ton of difference between the guy that wins the gold medal class up versus the guy that placed like third or fourth in the class down. And, a few pounds of pressure can make a difference between somebody looking like an amateur or a novice, or a pro rather. And I think that's it was a one-sided match, but I'm sure Martin's thankful for the experience. As we go through this, though, Martin and
those things that I guess, that frustrate me with people that want to arm wrestle that don't. It's you need these opportunities to pull against people that are far more elite. It's how you grow. You're not going to learn nothing by beating everybody. You have to take some losses. You have to field world caliber arms a few times here and there to complete your evolution in arm wrestling. And it's one of the things that frustrate me, people that are afraid to lose. I don't understand it.
But would you agree that those people that are afraid to lose would be in the more of the elites than the new guys?
No, not necessarily. I mention names, but I know a few guys that train really hard, but they don't want to. I mean, yes, on both levels. There's elites that don't want to lose their, I guess, their ranking or where they stand or where people assume they stand in the arm wrestling world. But there's also new guys that are just afraid. They want to train to never lose. They don't want to start entering tournaments until they're guaranteed that they're going to be a top finisher. And I don't like that because it's not a reality. You're not going to go 200-0 in arm wrestling. You're gonna get losses no matter what. And I think you build your own character and you build your own evolution in the sport by taking on challenges that are greater than you, that are better than you, and learning from those experiences, learning guys that got a quicker start, learning how people are setting up. There's lots to take away from losses, and I know Martin's one of those guys that's going to learn, from a world caliber guy like Roman Gromov.
See, I agree and I disagree at the same time. I agree that you should jump in with higher caliber competition when you're in a tournament style of arm wrestling. I don't necessarily think that getting beat 3 matches in a row with the same move is going to teach you anything other than this guy is way stronger than you.
Yeah, but he didn't lose 3. I don't agree with that. I think in a tournament setting, sometimes it moves too quick to really dissect, where you went wrong. In something like this, you have more time to evaluate. You got video to go back on. You got video to look at. There's people there. There's lots of content to dissect your match once it's over and go back and say, look, okay, here's where I went wrong. Here's what I could do different. And, maybe just, I guess, relish in the fact that you just went against a world-class guy and just take away from it what you can.
Okay, there's something to that. But, I mean, the debate is that's a bit of a stretch in some cases. So I'll give you an analogy. I know how to throw a punch. I'm not bad with my hands. But if I get into a ring with Tyson Fury, I'm going to get annihilated. It doesn't matter how many times I watch that match back, I'm going to learn that I got a long way to go. And the fundamentals still need to be paid attention to.
Sure, but I think you just took away something that you have a long way to go. I think there's value. It doesn't matter how separated you are. You can always learn from anything.
I'm going to remember you said that. When we have
if I went on the golf course with Tiger Woods in a best out of 9, I mean, I'm going to get annihilated. But I can guarantee you, I'll take something away from those every single hole. But
do you think that a super match in an elite event is the place to figure that out?
Well, no. I didn't say as a one-off. I said it's important to do things like that throughout your career of arm wrestling.
Right.
Martin has been arm wrestling for a very long time, and this is his first super match.
Yeah.
So, when I back in high school, I used to sprint, and I used to run. I was heavy in the track and field. And if you go sprinting by yourself, it's a fact. And
I was going to use a sprinting analogy before I came up with the boxing one.
If you go to a 100-yard dash by yourself, I can guarantee you your time will be substantially lower than going against if I put the best guys across that line that push me even further, my score is going to be better. You're always going to take away from higher caliber pullers. Always. It doesn't matter. I can't agree that whether you get annihilated or you don't get annihilated, you learn from something. And I think it's important for guys, whether you're a WAF caliber puller or a Zloty caliber puller, you're not going to go to those tournaments and walk away without learning something.
100%. I agree with you. But what I'm saying is, and Neil Pickup said it in the live feed, matchmaking is an art form. And we want to see, as fans and as promoters, not annihilations.
That's completely unrealistic. 100%.
Not all of it. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. But on paper, and I'm picking on Martin, and I feel awful because he's a great guy, but on paper, there's no way that Martin was competitive with Roman.
Sure, but you could look at Sheldon and Alan Fisher and say the exact same thing.
Who?
Alan Fisher and Jamie Sheldon.
I don't know about that.
It doesn't matter.
Jamie cut his teeth against like top level guys.
Sure, but
in super match format before he pulled the 57-time world champion.
Every single sports league is going to put matches together that are not always going to be edge of your chair matches. The whole point of putting matches together sometimes is because people want to test themselves against a much greater opponent. We have to offer these matches to people. They're not always going to be. There was a lot of great matches on there. We had, who thought in a million years that Wayne Withers and Corey West would be that one-sided? That's
an anomaly. That was an intriguing match right from the start. And with guys with similar pedigrees, with completely contrasting styles that both beat killers on the way to getting there.
So I look at it like, you just never know.
Let me ask you something. Who was Martin's last opponent before Roman?
I have no. But Martin has a ton of experience at Worlds.
I know he does. So
the Poland world caliber competition, and he's finished quite well. I think he's finished as high as second at WAF, and it's not like you're just bringing a nobody off the street and giving him a killer.
Yeah, I'm busting your chops more than anything.
No, that's fine. It's a good debate to have because it's matchmaking is an art form, and the majority of the matches I've made in the last 2 TALs, we've only had 1 or 2 that were just maybe that wasn't the best match. And to think that everyone is going to be just completely edge of your seat is just completely unrealistic. I don't care what league you're in.
No, I agree with you that you cannot. Once you make the match makes sense. You make it. You cannot control the outcome of it.
Yeah.
And I was going to say something offside, but let's just address the comment section here. Somebody named N. What happened to Gabi? Go back and watch every video I've made for the past 6 months, and you'll figure it out. Billy Berg, great job, Jeff. Curtis Mocan, morning, boys. Espey Shave looking like he's in his 20s again. Uncle John says TAL2 is awesome. Great event, Jeff. Sheldon Short, when will the complete results be posted?
Well, I'm looking at my table in front of me, and I got a lot of work to do. Maybe
Can you scan the draw sheets and send them to me, and I'll post them?
I'll get them done this weekend here.
Yeah. Kevin Kirk.
How's it going, Kevin?
That would be like taking on my brother who's been in the sport for years and me who's just over a year. He can teach me stuff, but losing 100 times in a row isn't going to help me. Interesting. Curtis Mocan. Mark Gay versus Michael Todd was an annihilation, but was nice to see Todd win without the King's move. I'm not sure Todd has a King's move with his left arm.
No. But then again,
Mark was the champ. Like, Mark had the belt, so
everybody goes against these matches and says, "Okay, there's a mismatch."
Not everybody.
Just let me finish for a second here. People got to realize something, that Michael Todd wanted to pull for a TAL belt. So we only had two options for him. So it was either Len Houghton or Mark Gay. Len couldn't make it. It's not like we were sitting there saying that this is maybe a potential great matchup, which we didn't. Mark is a seasoned puller, but the fact is that Michael wanted to pull for a TAL belt, and the TAL champion wanted a chance to pull Michael Todd. So, here we go.
This is another debate, and this is no fault of your own, because the same thing happens in Fit to Fight. Over in TAL, you have established champions that hold the belts. You pick the matches. They're not like there's not a set system for it, but you pick them. Yes? Would you agree with that? Which is fine. But that's probably better, because over in Fit to Fight, it's a feeder system. So whoever wins the previous tournament gets a shot at the title. So I'll give you an example from where I stand. I'm their left-handed champ. I'm going to end up against Steve Gaber at the next event. And I've beaten Steve Gaber a lot, and it's not been very close. But that is the next opponent based on the system he has in place. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it is what it is. Now you have a unique problem because you have a really gifted arm wrestler sitting as the champ, and that's the way it should be.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how you do it or what league you're in or what matches are made in any sport. There's always going to be criticism, and that's fine. The thing is yes, do I want to establish a ranking system 100% and have number one ranked contenders? But I'm not going to do that based on one TAL event and say we had one in Red Deer.
I wouldn't do that at all.
Huh?
I wouldn't suggest you do that at all.
Yeah, and I'm not,
because then you're handcuffed to who your next match is.
So my whole model is to run a year's worth of events and have them all over North America, where you can really establish geographically and rank these guys based on their performances and where they all did in super matches and tournament, and actually start building a system off of that. It's an evolution. I've held two events.
Hold the phone, Jeffrey. Hold the phone. We have our first super chat of all times from Uncle Jon Armwrestling Show. Who does Michael Todd pull left hand? Evan wants him, but I think that goes 3-0 to Michael Todd.
Yeah, so I've been talking. I'm just going to be completely transparent about this, and here's the thing. I literally get 50 to 75, upwards of 100 messages a day that I'm trying to respond to. Now, I've been asked. So Evan Burgoyne has already accepted a match with Bryce Talton, and that's a huge, huge challenge for him already. Evan Burgoyne and Mark Gay was a very, very close match. Correct?
Yeah, one could argue that Mark could have or should have won that if he was just a little bit more patient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Evan has also expressed that he wanted Len Houghton. So there's all these other matches that I've already committed to with Evan and talked to guys about that. Now, just to go around and say, okay, well, here you go to Michael Todd doesn't make much sense to me. Michael Todd wants to pull at TAL 5. He wants to pull Dave Chafee or Ryan Espey. He wants a high caliber guy. And listen, this league is also about making good matches until we have an established ranking system in place. I want to build it up with just making some really good matches that people want to see, that people want to make sure they take their Saturday afternoon off to watch. And I'm not saying Evan Burgoyne's, that guy's a killer, man. But, I've already committed to some other guys with him, and I want to stay true to that. And Michael Todd has asked, for a Dave Chafee or a Ryan Espey type matchup. So.
Yeah, and I want that match too, Uncle John, FYI. So we all know that Michael has plans on possibly going to Dubai for a few months, so it wouldn't be at a TAL 3, possibly not even at a TAL 4.
No, he wants it at TAL 5 in his home Arkansas. There
you go. So that's my goal, is to get in that match. Whether or not that happens, there's a lot of things that can happen in between now and then. Jeff, I agree with you. I don't even think you should establish a pecking order and rankings as far as title shots go. I think you should handpick every single one of them.
Yeah, and it only makes logistical sense. And you'll be criticized by that from a lot of people, but it is what it is. And I guess it's frustrating that some guys don't understand, I guess, how difficult it is to put this stuff together and pull it all off and make things right and make people happy and, keep, but at the end of the day, we want to entertain people. We want to build a legit league, and you can't just have one event and say, here you go, here's your top. It's just not a fair assessment.
Yeah. Victoria Espey says, why so serious, Jeff?
I'm going to be completely honest. I'm not serious at all. I've been really, really stressed these last 2 to 3 weeks. It's been a lot, and and it's been a lot to dissect. I've learned a lot. It's it honestly took a big toll. I don't think I've ever been that drained from a 4-day event, I guess, from flying to the whole thing. It's one of the things where I want to stop and say, listen, Travis Bagent is the man. I feel I owe that guy so much, because without him, this could have been, I don't know. He just took complete control of that event. He's an absolute stud of a human being. How he just said, just relax, man, let me do this whole event. And he did so, and how he delegated people to do certain roles was just so homogenous, I guess. It just blended together, and man, I just feel I owe that guy a lot. He did an absolutely incredible job.
You paid him. You don't owe him nothing. But here's what I really liked about Travis's commentary. When he was talking shit to the refs all the time on the microphone, questioning why they were calling fouls, and telling them to let stuff go. And that's just my own kind of guilty pleasure listening to that stuff. Let's get to a few more comments here, and then we'll continue on our breakdown, Jeff, because we're only match 2, and we've had a pretty good discussion so far. Victoria Espey says, or establish a small committee to make matches. Bama Bull says, I want 4 belts. I think I beat BLM both hands.
And and I'm glad there's another, oh man, I could go on and on and on. The guys in the people in arm wrestling in the United, this is take nothing away from guys in Canada, but Justin Bishop, Bill Cones, Travis Bagent, Michael, I don't think I've met a better group of people in my life. Justin Bishop is just another stud of a human being. Just having breakfast with him and his brother, you really, I don't know how to say it. You really learn just how genuine people can be and how sincere and how, man, I just really like that guy.
Yeah, he seems like a real good chap.
He's just a real good guy, man, and it's
It would make matchmaking easier for you if he had 4 of those belts.
Yeah, Justin's a bad dude, man. That guy, you could see the years of construction work in his hands. They're just like granite. Anyway, I could go on and on and on about everybody down there, and I got to thank them all for their support. And it's great to call them friends.
Mocan says Jordan Sill versus Espey or Michael Todd. I'm down for that. Interesting. Riley Neufeld, Jeff, you got to keep Travis as the announcer. Never got so pumped up for a match that I don't even know the guys. Robbie/Cody was insane. Keep up the good work. Yeah. Right on. Barbarian Armwrestling says good morning. So onward. We've covered Martin versus Roman. We're on to Ali versus Justin, left-handed. Probably one of the most intriguing matches, not just because we had them both on here pumping it up, but they talked quite a bit of trash to each other, which was super entertaining and not really nasty, but kind of fun. And it was one of the matches I was looking forward to the most.
You know, I think it's one thing in Ali's, I guess, toolbox that he's got to work on. And he learned just what a seasoned puller Justin is, not to mention how strong he is. It's not that that wasn't Ali's anywhere near his. Everybody knows how good Ali is. Everybody knows what he can do. But I think what happens with Ali is I think the trash talking, I think how well, I think the backing of Justin Bishop's friends and stuff, and it got in his head and it worked. He was so nervous. And I'm not saying the outcome would be any different. I'm not saying Ali's going to beat Justin Bishop, but I just think his performance was nowhere near how Ali can be. He has to work on his mental game. He has to work on his ready goes. Justin's video there where he said, "No, I'm up here and you're down there," was an actual true statement. And that's just goes to show how seasoned Justin Bishop is, how experienced he is, how smart he is on the table, mixed with his grit and his determination. Just it was really evident in that match.
And Justin made the comment beforehand that he was going to try to finish it so quickly that Ali didn't know where he stood with him strength-wise. And I think he accomplished that goal.
100%.
Ali's got a few things to work on, but I see some things there that, could close the gap a little bit. And Ali, man, I love that guy. He's a good guy. He's training hard, and he's going to analyze this to death. And I think he's going to go into a bit of a training hiatus and come back stronger on the other side, probably wanting to pull tournaments and get some more experience in TAL.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, I think this match goes back to exactly what we're talking about. Do you really think, even though it was a one-sided match, Ali didn't learn anything from this?
Well, he definitely learns where he stands with.
Well, no, he learned a lot. If you go look at his wins over Mark Gay, Dylan Houghton, BLM, any of those guys, go look at his positional setup, whether it's mental or not, or where you're at on the ready go. He is going to learn a lot from going back and watching that video. Where when that match started, I just went, that's such a bad day for Ali. That's not, and he didn't. He's going to learn where he needs to be and how he needs to fight for a better setup. He's going to learn that from this match. He's going to take away a lot of good stuff from pulling a seasoned guy like Justin Bishop. He's going to learn a whole lot from that.
Yeah, Victoria says, he learned. Victoria says he learned humility, and I think he did. But 100%. I've been talking to him a bit, and he'll be back. He'll be back strong. He's really new in the sport too. Like, he's only a few years in. Like, let's be honest here.
100%.
Yeah. All right. So that one's, it was one-sided. Justin won all the matches. Then we have Corey West versus Dave Chafee, who, when they locked up and they had their first couple of goes, I thought, holy shit, it's going to be a barn burner of a match. And it was. The ones we saw, the restarts we saw were amazing until we had the injury.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand Corey West is going for surgery here right away.
Yeah, I think
to get his bicep reattached.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing with that, though. Every guy that I've ever known that has been an arm wrestler that's torn their bicep and had it reattached ends up way stronger because they actually move the attachment point down the lever. So it's kind of scary to think about what Corey West is going to be like left-handed when he comes out the other side of all of this.
You know, just another guy that's just a great human being. I love talking to that guy. He phones me regularly. We talk quite a bit. He's just a good guy. And man, he is a big dude. He's a strong dude. That guy has got endless amounts of potential. He's showing it. Yeah, Dave Chafee's a bad guy, and I mean, he stopped a seasoned guy and tried to roll out of his hand, which was a hard hand to roll out of, and yeah, there was a lot of strain on that bicep, and it just couldn't hold up.
Yeah, that match could have. Having seen one match of all of that, I wouldn't be confident in saying who would have won had they had the entire best of 5 series.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
It was an exceptionally made match. The guys were really close in strength in different areas, and it ended with an injury, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. All right. We have a question here. So Lohan Top Roll says, Jeff, you're putting on some really great events. Hats off to you. Will you be able to keep these events going when WAL comes back?
Well, I mean, well, yeah, 100%. Well, I mean, events will keep going. Where we can use WAL guys all the time, well, that's going to be dependent on their contracts. I don't want to speak a whole lot about that just because there's a lot of confidentiality that's been going on, I guess, with discussions with the WAL guys and the TAL and just kind of where everybody's at, I guess, and we'll just see how it goes. I mean, they are signed contract athletes. So
you want me to speak to it as a contracted athlete?
Yeah, if you want. Well, I mean, you don't know what we've been talking about, but you can speak what your opinions are for sure.
I can tell you that when the WAL season starts, you will have less ability to have WAL guys, probably, based on what I know personally. I don't know what you've talked about with WAL, because they are probably going to be committed to whatever series is going to be on WAL. Now, you look at the card TAL2, there wasn't a ton of WAL contracted athletes on that. There's a few, but you could have really made that card without those guys too. You wouldn't have had Michael Todd. You wouldn't have had Todd Hutchings. But I mean, you still got Corey West. You still got Dave Chafee. You still got Underwood and Withers. Like, there's still many things you could have done there.
100%. See, I understand what you're saying, but I mean, oh man, I don't know how much information. May 1st is in Arkansas, correct?
I don't know. You tell me.
The WL season starts when?
They haven't told me anything. Typically, I think they're waiting for COVID to be in the rearview mirror before we talk about any of this stuff in any absolutes.
Michael Todd, WL season or not, Michael Todd's pulling in Arkansas.
Okay, cool.
So,
but left-handed probably.
Left-handed, yeah.
Which WAL doesn't really care a whole lot about, let's be honest.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the contracts all read. I'm just saying there's a lot of these guys want to do different things. Nobody wants to be subject to being contracted down for a match here and a match there twice a year. They don't. Now, I don't know where everybody's contract stands, if all these contracts are null and void, or they got to be reinstated, or if they just keep going or what. But you know, the general consensus is a lot of guys want to pull different venues, and I'm not just talking TAL. There's many good leagues out there and lots of good opportunities to pull, whether it's overseas, whether it's a Sean Hancock or a Bill Collins event, it doesn't matter. And I think as we go forward, I think you're going to see a lot more WL contracted athletes pulling in different leagues. That's my perspective on it.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's bound to happen. Now, next match we got Jesse Halliday versus Justin Bishop, and I think you and I thought that this match would be as close as it was. You know, Justin is a level higher, just a little bit though, and Jesse made a really good match of it. Yeah, and showed that he has like huge potential. In fact, you know, we actually tossed around the idea that there might have been an upset there
Yeah, I thought if there was any, yeah, I mean, did I think there was the chance where Jesse could pull out a win or maybe even an upset? Yeah, I certainly felt that. And but again, I mean, Justin shows why he's the Mama Bull and he's an elite puller. He's just that much more seasoned. Jesse did make a good match of it. He showed why he's a top national puller. And the thing about Jesse is he's only 3 years into the sport, and he can only, again, he's going to learn. He's going to just continue to evolve, and he's going to be a scary, scary dude 3-4 years down the road. Look out.
Yeah. Moving on. Corey West versus Wayne Withers, right-handed.
Yeah. This is one where I had no idea which way this was going to go. And Corey showed, man, he's a real deal. Like I was legitimately surprised that it was as one-sided as it was. Now, I don't know if Wayne Withers had some injuries or he didn't say anything about him, or if he was as fresh as a daisy and just got beat by an absolute stud. That's what I think happened. And kudos to Corey, man. The guy's a bad dude.
Well, he also had, his left arm right? Just kind of draped over the peg. And I don't know. He said on, I think it was Uncle John's show, that it didn't have an impact on the right-handed match. So we'll go with that. But, I mean, the way that Corey just contained Wayne, like it was impressive. And Wayne kept trying to escape.
You're not top rowing Corey West. You learned that.
Well, not with that style. You're not. That's for sure. You need a different angle for sure. And I don't know how diverse Wayne's training is, but I mean, nobody. I think that one shocked people. Not that Corey won, but how one-sided it was.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. All right. Michael Todd versus Mark Gay.
Yeah, I think going into this match, it was a little bit of unknowing. I think Michael takes a lot of flack for his left hand not being good. So even you and I, we thought maybe there was a chance that, Mark could pull this out. But I think what we learned is that arm is still attached to Michael Todd, and he's got some serious tools in his bag of tricks with that left, man. Like, he's a powerful guy. And
well, you know where the doubt came from?
Was the trip to Dubai or Devon?
Both. That's where the doubt came from. So seeds of doubt were planted.
Yeah.
And then Devon does his preview of TAL 2, where he says that Michael Todd's left arm is pathetic. Yeah. And then Travis kind of reiterates that on Michael's show right before the night before in a roundabout way. And then Michael, who says, I'm just going to shoulder roll him, came in and did exactly that. However, Mark came in looking very, very small and light.
Yeah, it's
like was he even 220 pounds?
Yeah, definitely in the size, and I guess the whole muscle tone or whatever you want to call it. There was a substantial difference in weight, size, and strength.
It looked like a heavyweight versus a welterweight.
Yeah.
And hats off, but Mark, I hate to be critical, but he needs to make a decision. Either go down to a lighter weight class or...
I think he has made a decision. It looks to me like he's seriously looking at competing under the super heavies and nationals. I mean, it looks to me like
super heavies. He's got to stop calling out super heavyweights if that's the decision.
I totally agree, and that's a good point. If you're going to pull, just in a heavyweight class, you need to stop calling out super heavyweights. You need to start looking at your weight class that you're starting to shoot for.
And got some back and forth. Cody Spur saying, "Oh, because of that awesome arm warmer." Yeah, I noticed that. Corey and Cody were sharing clothing at that event. It is what it is. The flaming arm warmer gave Corey the power to win the match.
That's exactly what it was. Does that belong to Cody?
That's Cody's trademark for a long, long time, that one.
There you go. That's what did it right there, because Cody Merritt's a bad dude, man. That guy. But we'll get to that match.
We will. Next, Todd Hutchings versus Don Underwood. This was a match that was also intriguing.
Mm-hmm.
And all the moving parts from this match that transferred into the tournament made everything more interesting for me. So you got to see Todd Hutchings kind of dominate Don Underwood.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we expected, when thinking logically about it, with Don coming back to full-time competition and Hutchings being on a bit of a tear lately, we might have expected a win from Todd, but we didn't expect it in that fashion. And then on the flip side of that, he goes on and we have a huge surprise in the open, which we'll talk about later, although we're getting on in time here because of our debates. But
we don't have time.
Todd versus Underwood. I got to make money, Jeffrey.
Todd showed why he's Todd Hutchings. I don't know. It was interesting. I know Don Underwood is a seasoned guy. He took a little bit of a hiatus, but I can tell you that his resurgence and his comeback is real. He wants to be a top contender again, and he's training his ass off. And he wanted to see where he was at, and he's just not there yet. I have no doubts he'll get to where he wants to be. And Todd Hutchings is a bad dude, man. I mean, nothing more to say about it. He's a real deal, and like Travis Bajan said, that's why he considers him the number one arm wrestler in North America right now, pound for pound.
Yeah, the pound for pound debate. Yeah, I think agree with that. And then we got the finale, the main event: Cody Merritt versus Robbie Topi, the best. Now, we were asked what our favorite match of the night was, of the card was. This is for sure mine. I mean, how can you argue with this match? It was an amazing, despite the 3-0 result, it was an amazing back and forth match where Cody comes out on top.
Yeah, 100%. And, I know Robbie put 200% into his training for this match, and he was really confident. And I mean, look at Cody's a WAF world champion. He's he's a Masters world champion. He's the Open world champion. He's a bad guy, man. And he's substantially bigger than Robbie Topi. Robbie Topi is an intimidating, scary dude. Very good shape. And yeah, man, like the whole atmosphere while I was there literally gave me goosebumps. It was pretty cool. I don't think I've ever heard a crowd that into it. It was awesome. Like, I love being there, sitting beside Travis and just watching that go down. Like, kudos to both guys. I mean, that'll go down as probably the best super match in 2020. And man,
100%, because 2020 is over. Like,
yeah. Well, but then it was good match. Maybe in the last 2 years, I don't know, but it was just a hell of a match. And Cody sustaining a broken arm in that second match and still winning just speaks volumes of that guy's grit and determination. Like, come on.
You said it. Do you have Cody's blessing to talk about that? I don't know. Cody, can we talk about that? He's in the chat.
I think it's went public already. So
all right. So we had Cody actually have a fracture in one of the bones in his forearm, and it was a complete break. In match 2, you said?
Yeah, it was match 2, yeah.
Yeah, so we had that's impressive. We got Cody actually pulling match 2 and match 3 with a fracture in his arm, which is gutsy. And of course he didn't know it was broken, but I mean, it was amazing. So Cody now is recovering, and he has solidified his #1 North American ranking. But 6 months from now, maybe we'll talk about it again. And then we got the tournament, buddy. We got the tournament.
Yeah, tournament was great, man. It was.
Here's my disappointment. I want to talk about my disappointment. because I was anticipating every guy from the open or from the super matches to jump in to the tournament. And some of them did. Some of the most tired ones did. And I'm talking about guys like Robbie Topi, who was clearly exhausted, still pulled the tournaments. Other guys had injuries, I understand. Some were fresh as fresh could be and opted to not pull.
Everybody had good reasons, and I talked to everybody. But I mean, Todd Hutchins, Don Underwood, Cody was hurt, Corey was hurt, Robbie pulled, Justin pulled, Jesse pulled, Ali pulled, Mark pulled. So Michael Todd talked to me before about why he didn't want to, and it makes sense. So that I mean, everybody had good reasons, and I mean, it was a great tournament.
All right, enough about that. But the big shocker, I think, coming out of here was Jordan Sill showing up looking very tank-like and getting a win, both arms.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the guy looked absolutely dynamite. I mean, he was in phenomenal shape. He looked just absolutely huge. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he showed the Jordan Sill of old, and that guy was on fire. And I really like the fact that guys like Craig Tullier, another just a great guy. Jordan Sill showed up. Craig coming off surgery and this being his first tournament in a while, coming back and using this as a platform to get going again. And both guys just doing exceptionally well.
I love it when guys like the caliber of Craig Tullier just show up unannounced.
Yeah, 100%. Wasn't that cool?
Events. Yeah, that was pretty cool. All in all, Jeff, I think you gave us a much needed dose of our arm wrestling addiction. So we appreciate the event. It was amazing. And what else do you want to say about the tournament? Like, it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, no, I wanted to thank everybody for coming out and supporting the event. It was great. So much help from Robbie to Lana's friends running draw sheets, Bob Brown, Travis Bajent, all the referees just did an absolute phenomenal job. I couldn't have been more happy with the way Bill Collins. Like, man, we got through some high caliber super matches. Certainly some were 3-0, but still, he just took control. An hour and a half, we were through the super matches. The tournament didn't go on forever. It was just extremely well run.
Yeah.
And thanks to those guys for making that happen.
You know what I appreciated? I appreciate the fact that it was the super match card, was done really smoothly and not dragged out for hours and hours. It was able to sit there. I was engaged the whole time, and yeah.
And that's exactly it. And you got to give credit where credit is due, and that's Travis, Bill Collins, Tim Talmadge, Bryan Koerner.
Question was asked. The refs were awesome too. I thought they did a great job. Yeah. The question was asked, how come Travis didn't pull? Now, if Travis was going there to pull, that's one thing. I can tell you from experience, and I think Uncle John can probably attest to this a little bit too, that it is not it is exhausting to do the job he did all day long and maintain that level of energy, and to jump into a tournament probably wouldn't have been the smartest idea he's ever had.
No, and you hit it right on the head, Ryan. And he I think he wanted to pull the tournament, but he was beat, man. Like he went for 7 straight hours hard. Like, he was exhausted. He was done. So whatever. I just want to say thank you to Travis because he did a hell of a job.
Yeah. So we got lots of we've had a very good amount of comments, and I can't even get through them all. Swedish Arm Wrestling Television, how you doing, brother? And then we got TAL3, man. Let's talk a little bit about that. So obviously Canada is basically on lockdown until we're all vaccinated.
And here's my frustration. It's just, I don't know. And listen, I'm new at this, and I'm going to learn as I go too. But,
you've already got more experience than 99% of people out there that don't understand what it takes to put on a tournament.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. And, people are already criticizing that it's not going to be in Canada, and why didn't I do this? Listen, I don't control what the government does. I have no say in that. Listen, people can put 2 and 2 together. Okay, Alberta announces a lockdown for four weeks, and that puts us at January 13th. To think in the next 3 weeks would put us at February 6th, which is when TAL 3 was supposed to happen. To think that all of a sudden we're going to be allowed to have gatherings of 400 people is absolutely ridiculous. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen until at least summer. I mean, yes, these vaccines will roll out. Things will start to progress in the right direction, but they're not going to. Nobody's going to say, "Okay, we got vaccines now. Let's just congregate and run big." It's just not going to happen that way. It's just not being realistic. And for people to say, "Well, you need to have it in Canada," no, you're not going. If you're running this as a business, you're not going to just put your business on hold and say, "Okay, well, just because one guy wants it to be this way, this is how you have to do it." I have to. If this
What
is
is
going to
the
be
difference? What would people rather you do? Cancel TAL 3 until June, or still have an event in Canada in June and it's TAL 7?
Exactly. It is what it is. I have to be successful at this. I have to keep rolling it out. So I only have options to go down south, and that's and listen, if any of the super match pullers can't get down there, whether they work or they can't quarantine, whatever it may be, that's fine. I mean, we make a different match, and when we can do it back up in Canada, we'll revisit that. It's no different than TAL2. We have to roll with the punches. There were so many obstacles that we just overcame. We have another obstacle here in Alberta with the shutdown, and we have to roll with it. We have to figure it out and work with it. And I just ask for people to just be a little bit understanding. I have to roll with what comes at me, and whether it's lockdowns, whether it's COVID, whether it's people pulling out, canceling, I have to roll with what it is, and it's very difficult to do. So just be patient and let's just build this up and do the best we can with what we have to work with right now.
100%. I agree with you. Corey's asking how the raffle went for the table.
How it went? Went really good. I think it was really cool to have something there. It was awesome. Everybody signed it. All the super match pullers signed it. It was a really nice table. Thanks Israel Lee Arm Wrestling Club, one of my sponsors, for donating that and getting us to raffle it up. But it was a big hit. There was lots of guys in on the raffle. So yeah, it was great.
Yeah. Arm sport videos, it doesn't matter what you do, haters gonna hate. I agree. So don't take it personally. If people are pissed off, well, they can go back to not arm wrestling if that's what they really want to do. But then we got a question for me. Hey Ryan, do you think you can beat Jordan Sill? I would like to have that match actually, and I think that's a right-handed match I would entertain in the not so distant future.
You know what I think is a really good match right now? I mean, there's so many.
If you're going to say anything with me,
no. There's all kinds of good matches.
Commitments to one person in particular. There's
all kinds of good matches for Ryan Espey, all kinds. But right now, and we're going to make those matches. There's Abu. I can't even say his last name.
Yeah.
That's a great matchup. There's Michael Todd. There's Cody Merritt. There's all kinds of great matchups. I don't know if I like sitting there saying, okay, Ryan Espey and Jordan Sill. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think there's better matchups right now for you with Cody Merritt, Dave Chafee, Michael Todd, Abu, all these guys. I think there's just so many good matches to make. I think Daniel Worley, Jordan Sill, left hand would just be off the charts awesome. Daniel Worley, #1 ranked left-handed arm wrestler in North America, left-handed. Jordan Sill showing what he just showed.
Considerably larger. I don't know, man.
It's a good match.
I'm intrigued, but I think you're going to see another. I don't know. It's a tough one.
But it's one of those ranking matchups that need to happen. Jordan Sill is ranked #3. Daniel Worley's ranked #1. I think it's a good match. Those two have always kind of been, I don't want to say at each other.
What weight are they ranked at?
I think Daniel Worley's 220. See, okay. Jordan Sill can come down to 198 really quick.
Not right now, he can't.
it would have to be. Well, sure he can. He's just at 240. So I mean, there's all kinds of great matchups to be made right now. There's so much to do.
There's 100.
Todd Hutchins.
It's going to come down to availability. It's going to come down to availability for the next event too, because I mean our province
static going.
Our province is a mess.
I missed that, Ryan. There was some static there.
All right. Well, we gotta. Yeah, I'm just saying that it's going to come down to availability with the pandemic and all that kind of stuff. So I mean, it is what it is, and we'll do the best we can. So it's going to be an amazing event, no matter what it looks like, what super matches there are, and it's going to be headlined by Dallas versus BLM 2.
BLM, Dallas Langston's 2. There's a little bit of. I mean, there's some things going on there too, which rules they want to use and what weight they want to pull out. So there's some negotiations that got to be clarified there. There's some bickering going on back and forth.
Oh boy, let me guess. One guy wants WL rules and one guy wants WAF rules. All right, brother. Let's put a bow on this one. Big thank you to Uncle John's Arm Wrestling Show for our very first super chat of $6.99. It's a start. We appreciate you. And Jeff, we got a guest coming on next week.
I think, who do we have? Artem?
It sounds like we got Artem next week. It should be an entertaining show.
I just talked to him yesterday, so I'm excited for that.
He's an interesting guy.
He sure is.
Oh my God. Jeff, before we go off the air, stop the presses. Arm TV has sent in a super chat with no question or comment for $20. So Uncle John, you have been outdone, my friend.
That's Gary Roberts?
That's Gary Roberts.
He has no question?
No question, no comment, just support. And we appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right. Arm TV. That's it. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching. Thanks for being with us in the chat. And we'll see you guys next week.